All right, have and have not fans. Now, this is going to be a particularly interesting kind of theory video. And the title, I couldn't title it what I wanted to. The title would have been something along the lines of Will Derrick rape Veronica? But due to YouTube, you can pretty much guess why I couldn't name it that particular thing. I might change the name to Will Derrick take advantage of Veronica with quotation marks, but basically, let me just put it this way, and by no stretch of the imagination am I trying to make light or joke about somebody being physically taken advantage of by another person. That's not what I'm trying to say here. But I will say that in terms of the overall story plot and whatnot, this could actually add more dimension to Veronica's character. Now, the reason we're talking Derrick is, well, I think it goes without saying nothing has been confirmed, but I'd say about, if I were just a spitball estimation, I'd say at least 85% of the fan base thinks that Derrick is the guy with the lion tattoo, aka Candace's father, aka the same man that raped Hannah when she was younger. So what I'm thinking here is, if he is the guy, because literally there's no other male character that's popped up in the series at this point, in terms of, isn't it a bit convenient that Derrick strolls into the show not too long after Hannah talks about the guy with the lion tattoo? I mean, coincidence much? Now, what I'm saying is, what if this is the guy with the lion tattoo, and based off the preview for this Tuesday's episode, it looks like he's a little too aggressive with Hannah, in terms of like touching on her and whatnot. I mean, they had a good first date, but he seems to want more at a much faster rate. I mean, that's classic Christian player move right there. It's like, well, I'm going to pray for you. But would you want me to call you in the morning or nudge you? It's kind of like, well, that escalated quickly. It's like, hey, we're going to go to church, but then we're going to have a benediction at the house. Wait, what? It's kind of like, okay. It's kind of like offering somebody's like, hey, let me pay for your meal at Burger King, but then I'm going to rob you for $500. You know how awkward that sounds? That's kind of what it was, like a trade-off. Like, hey, I'm going to pray for you, but then I'm going to put hands on you, Hannah. I'm going to put hands on you. I don't know, but most people would chalk that up as being overly flirtatious because their scenes together, especially at the club and the restaurant, really cute and whatnot. But at the same time, part of me was like, okay, what if he was the guy that raped her, but then he, changed his life around, went to church, started a family, then his wife died, and even though he was the rapist, he changed his life, but that aggressive personality is still there, hence why he's being really touchy-feely with Hannah. But you can also chalk it up to, okay, this guy lost his wife about a year ago, so obviously he's pretty lonely, and, well, Hannah's like the first woman that he's, been with in terms of a date. I mean, according to Derrick, both Veronica and Catherine have both been trying to hook him up with women for a while now, but I'm guessing none of them worked out, and maybe Hannah's like the first one where it seems like he's actually connecting with her, and maybe he's rushing things along. I don't know, but it really comes down to, do you think that he was the rapist in the past and still has a bit of those aggressive tendencies, or what is he literally just a good guy, but he's lonely since he's been single for so long? Could that be the case? And plus, you got to look at the whole, well, we're not getting any younger kind of thing. So that might explain why he's kind of rushing things instead of taking it slow. And with Hannah, you definitely need to take it slow. Now, when it comes to Veronica, let's just say hypothetically, and again, this is a theory, so let's stay with me on this one. What if things don't work out with Hannah? Like, because he's a bit too pushy, Hannah's like, look, Derrick, I like you. We're just getting to know each other, but we need to slow things down. And if not, then I don't want to see you again. And then, okay, Derrick just, takes the L and leaves. Then in the preview, we saw that at some point he's going to go over to Veronica's house. Most likely she's going to call over there to fix something, and maybe what she wants fixed isn't underneath her sink. Hint, hint. Now, based off what we know, I don't, Veronica's pretty much looking for the new man, literally, because in her eyes, Benny is no better than David, and she's going to deal with him. And the next available man that she knows of is, well, Derrick. And not to say anything against him, he does seem like a legitimately good guy. It just seems that it's a bit odd that Veronica will want somebody that's, I guess you could say, not on her level, because he is, like a handyman and whatnot. So he's not like a lawyer or a doctor. And the only reason she got with Benny was because, well, he was available, and he felt sorry for her because, remember, she got Benny out of jail. And after that, you know, they were in the car. It's like, hey, can you drive? Because I've been drinking. It's like, no, I got you. Okay. And then talks about, you know, my husband cheated on me. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then you could just tell by the look in Veronica's eyes that that was a bit of a turn on, that, oh, my God, okay. It's like things didn't work out with David, but here's this young guy. So I'm going to start, you know, playing around with him. Who's to tell? Because, you know, it's, hey, I'm just speculating here. What if Veronica does literally have something wrong at the house? Derrick gets called over, and he goes over there and fixes it and everything. And he might ask the questions like, he might say, hey, I saw in the paper about your divorce. Or he's like, oh, well, where's Mr. Harrington? I haven't seen him in a while. Because maybe the last time Derrick interacted with Veronica, she was still with, you know, David. Like they were still at the same house before it got burnt down and whatnot. So he's familiar with Veronica and David being married. So he might ask the question, or she might say that I'm not doing too well. And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. So maybe Derrick will be the new Benny in terms of him giving his condolences to, you know, the falling out of David and Veronica. And then Veronica might raise an eyebrow, and that's when she'll try to put the moves on him. How he reacts to that, we have yet to know. That probably won't happen for a couple more episodes, but I think it will be an interesting dynamic to see what happens with that. And I will also say that maybe Derrick won't rape her, but I do feel like Derrick would take control of the situation. Let's just flash back to season 2 and the beginning of season 3 when Quincy snuck into Veronica's house. The first time was literally in her bed, and then the second time was when she went downstairs because she could smell Quincy. And basically this was on her way to the Sarandon Hotel because she had a suspicion that David and Maggie were doing the do. And in both of those situations, you know, Veronica seemed scared, especially the first time, but even Quincy was quick to call her out. I was like, oh, you got wet. No, you like this gutter trash, this thug life. You about that life. And to be honest, you know, again, not making light of the situation, especially the second time where he was literally choking her, you know, pressing her against the stairwell and whatnot. It seemed like she liked it in a twisted sort of way. I don't know. There are two ways to look at it. Number one, she does like that because it's probably been quite some time since she's been given that rough around the edges treatment. Or it could, number two, it could mean that Veronica herself was raped in the past. We do know that her and when she was a freshman in college, there was a senior that she was with. She got knocked up. He wanted nothing to do with her, and then she got an abortion. But we never heard of her being raped in the past. That's one thing to keep, you know, an eye out for. But what I'm saying here is that maybe, just maybe, she does like that kind of treatment, or again, she was taken advantage of in the past. And it really goes to show that if Derrick is this guy, if he is the guy with the lion tattoo, he might be worse to Veronica than Quincy was, because one thing about it is Veronica knew what Quincy was about. But with Derrick, you know, he seems like, you know, an everyday honest guy making a living, but to have him turn into a monster, who knows? Because for all we know, those two might have like a one-night stand. And before you know how Veronica was trying to control Benny, tell him what to do, but he wasn't having it. What if Derrick is more exertive than she is? I mean, to me, it's almost like the whole Candace and Warlock situation where, okay, one minute she's dealing with she's screwing a guy over both physically, financially, and mentally, but then you have somebody step into her life that creates chaos because she can't contain him, she can't control him. That's what Warlock was, basically a monster, you know, a dog that she couldn't put back in the cage. Same thing with Derrick, if that were the situation. If he becomes like the new Quincy to Veronica. Again, I am not by any means an imagination saying that rape is funny. That is not what I'm trying to get across here. But it would definitely have Veronica running for the hills. I mean, for all we know, Veronica might be the trigger that brings out Derrick as he used to be, you know, raping women and whatnot. Now, again, just a theory. We do not know if he's the guy, but wouldn't it be something if those two are having, you know, relations for the very first time and clothes are coming off, and while they're doing the do, Veronica looks up and notices a tattoo, and it's either like frightened or aroused by it. I don't know. Maybe she'll say, nice tattoo. And, he might say, yeah, I got it a long time ago. So it's like, he'll have a reason. It's like, yeah, anytime I'm with a woman, I want them to look at that while, I'm doing whatever he's doing. So I feel like Tyler Perry could definitely throw us for a loop with that. Basically having Hannah be happy, but then pushing away Derrick because, she doesn't like him being that aggressive due to what happened to her past. But then the audience, us, won't know that he is the guy with the tattoo until Derrick is interacting with a character, Veronica, somebody who doesn't know what that tattoo is about. So I really do feel like if Tyler Perry reveals Derrick to be the guy with the lion tattoo, that will be an entirely new dimension of the story. Because like I said before, Hannah could say like, I had a bad feeling about him. And then to the audience, we find out like it's a good thing Hannah didn't, continue with this potential relationship because Derrick isn't the guy that he seems to be. And by extension, you can add more to Veronica's character by making Derrick somewhat of an enemy to her, depending on if he just randomly shows up at her house for like, late night relations or something like that. Basically, Veronica dealing with somebody she can't control. So I really do think that Tyler Perry can do this and maybe add more backstory to Veronica, reveal more about why she is the way she is, which is something I've been asking for quite some time. So it'll be an interesting dynamic, somewhat of a weird love triangle between Hannah, Derrick, and Veronica. And kind of like the whole, is there another love triangle I'm missing here? What if Catherine's with Broderick, but then Jim gets jealous? That's 3. What if David, Erica, Veronica? Yeah, there are a couple out there, but they're, kind of misconstrued. But well, yeah, with that being said, let me know what you think about this interesting theory. Do you think that Derrick might take advantage of Veronica in more ways than one? Will he just push away her advances because he's strung up on Hannah? We'll just have to wait and see. With that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll talk to you later.